Make the ground shake.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, GamerK, and for those of you who are watching this right now, it may be the 18th, but I did this for St. Patrick's Day, and I don't have a lot of green clothing, and this bow tie was the only thing I could find, so please forgive me. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day, everyone, and it is time to not get drunk with me, because I don't drink. Instead, I have this and another DLC to look at. And this DLC, we are ending the Marvel Spider-Man City That Never Sleeps DLC with Episode 3, Silver Lining. Also, much like all my DLC videos, if I haven't said so in the previous ones, I'm still learning how to say things for videos. A little spoilers for people, but I mean, it's 2021, and if you haven't played the DLC, then you missed out, and if you did, then you know already. So, after the big climax of fighting Hammerhead in the Turf War episode, and Yuri kind of going over the deep end a little bit after all the events that transpired, a couple weeks later, I think it is, weeks, because there's no way this would go on for months, Spidey finds some of Hammer's goons, and they're all souped up with the Olympus armor, which honestly makes the combat in this episode a little bit better, because it's not all just the thugs. I mean, it is the thugs, but they're amped up, allowing them to do aerial combat, to do laser attacks, and it's pretty fun. And not only that, but after doing that, we run again into Silver Sable, who's trying to find Hammerhead, and with or without our help, she's going to end him, so the Olympus project can't be used ever again. And going over my list, this DLC is much like the other episodes of The City That Never Sleeps. It consists of 7 main missions. Some of them are pretty basic. Some open up the side missions. And there are 4 side missions, basically. You know, aside from the obvious street crimes and the hideout, the Hammerhead hideouts, where they hide all the Olympus gear. So it's somewhat copy and paste a little bit, but some of them are pretty fun to do as well. And the story with Sable not trusting us, obviously, and also placing a tracer on us so she can find wherever we go. Which, I like that Spidey isn't aware of it. And it's pretty good. The main story, the whole DLC can be completed within 3 to 4 hours. But if you like to take your time and do a little swinging around, and it came out at the end of 2012. And I gotta say this, at the end of the game, we get a beautiful tribute to Stan Lee, a man who made us be greater. Excelsior! So going back to the DLC, the side missions that we get are, once again, like I said, the basic street crimes where you do car chases, you help out people, thugs, the basic stuff. The hideouts, where you will stealthily take out the enemies, and then once a good number of them are done, you have to do combat and do waves of them, which it gets annoying, but it gets the job done. Next we have, let me see. Oh, yeah, our favorite reality psycho, Screwball, where we gotta do more of her challenges, which, all honesty, this DLC brought out the Screwball challenges, and I really enjoyed them. It was a fun way of being clever with combat and techniques and our combos and our gadgets, and getting the sweet spot in order to get more points was actually a pretty cool way. I mean, people like that want that epic shot in order to boost up their ratings. This just goes to show that this was a pain in the ass before TikTok became a big thing. Wait a minute, did I say the end of 2012? That doesn't seem right. My bad. My handwriting's kind of bad. At the end of 2018. So, yeah, TikTok was still a thing. Not as big as it is now. But Screwball would definitely find some way to make that into a deadly game. And also, one of the ones that really threw me for a loop was the crime scene recordings, where throughout a good majority of the locations of the game, we will find little recordings taped to buildings, underneath buildings, and we'll have to find them, and it will show Yuri's obsession, Yuri Watanabe's obsession with Hammerhead, saying that a cop buddy of hers went undercover or something like that, and he got killed by Hammerhead's goons because the therapist that she was going to turned out to be one of Hammerhead's associates. And as we continue to find them, we find the goon that was tailing Yuri, and he's killed and tied to a column on top of a building with a bunch of tape that you know though when they do the tape and they put twine around it and connect it to another source, it has crime scene tape around that, and it all connects to the center point, other pegs around the area with evidence thrown. And we get a call from Yuri that she's getting revenge, and just her justice that she fought for before isn't enough. So she's going off the rails. And from what a lot of people have been speculating that I don't really know that much about, because, again, I only know these characters from the games or from the TV shows. So I'm not really versed in the comic genre of Spider-Man or Batman or any of the other heroes. But from what I've been told, Yuri's supposed to become this villain called Wrath, which I stated in my top 13 predictions for Spider-Man 2, the game. And it would be kind of cool to have to face Yuri again. I could see something like that going by in the same style as Tommy Elliott or Hush in the Batman Arkham series. You know, we would find the crime scenes, we'd have to piece together a location, and finally confront Yuri. That is, I mean, for someone who doesn't know that stuff, it makes it great to see this character go down this dark road, because throughout the main game we kind of developed a kind of love-hate relationship with Yuri and Spidey, kind of like how Captain Gordon did with Batman in the beginning. You know, that kind of, we trust him, but not really, because he doesn't show our face. But at the end of this, that whole trust thing is gone, and all honesty, I love it. I really do, because it definitely gives us something to look forward to. Not only that, but they even boosted up the hideout missions by having us help a freedom fighter who wants to get rid of the Olympus Project because it decimated his town. It's been a while, so I think that's how it goes, if I remember correctly. So that's pretty fun. That they don't just make it the same as the regular missions in the main game. They kind of just change it a little bit. Not too much, but not enough to make it super imposing. Not only that, but near the end of the game, we get this big confrontation with Hammerhead, who has replaced his body with the cybernetics of the Olympus Project, making him into a Terminator, kind of big boss Terminator, almost like those big robots in the movie Avatar, the blue people Avatar, not the shitty Last Airbender movie, nothing like that. And I really love it. And also, if this video finds it to people of anime, Keith Silverstein or Silverstein, however you say it, as Hammerhead works perfectly. He's a mafia boss. He's a tough guy, and Keith's voice just emphasizes that role with every character he plays. And he is in my alumni of anime voices. Like, if I hear his voice, it better be freaking fantastic. Oh, what else? Oh, right, near the end of the game, or the end of the DLC, Cat returns. And Erica Lindbeck as Black Cat is beautiful at its best. I kind of find it funny that we get 2 Persona 5 voice actors in this, and I find that pretty good. It's good. And I swear, in number 2, she had better make a big full appearance in the main game. No side mission BS. Have her be in the main game, because I think it would be cool to see her and Spidey and Miles have a little bit of back and forth, and also she can also kind of make comments to Mary Jane, and I think that would be really cool to have Erica Lindbeck and Laura Bailey kind of catfighting in a way. I think that would be really cool. And the final boss fight with Silver Sable finally helping us on the battle, it's just fantastic. Fighting this giant hulking Hammerhead, and honestly, it's a cool boss fight. I'm never going to do a DLC boss battle list because there's very few of them that have actual boss battles. But I gotta say, the boss battle was very entertaining. And the whole DLC as a whole wraps up the entire story of the city that never sleeps between the heist, turf wars, and Silver Lining. This is a great ending. Heist began everything. Turf wars made it more compelling and more intriguing. And Silver Lining ended it cut clean, very well done. Another thing I really loved about it is it kind of foreshadowed what was going to happen in Miles Morales, where Mary Jane tells Peter after every mission, and while we're just swinging around, going from location to location, that she's going to report in a indigenous area. I can't remember what it was called, but that's kind of the catalyst that has Peter go with her and leaves everything to Miles, which leads to the whole game Miles Morales. So I kind of like that they thought this through in the whole way in advance. Like, this DLC kicks off Miles Morales' game, where the main game kind of kicked off Miles as a character, but it just, again, kicks him off into his own game and creates the context of why Spidey is gone, instead of just some BS mysterious reason. But overall, yeah, the Silver Lining DLC, it's not that long, it's not that hard, it's not terrible, it's pretty good, in my opinion. And again, for an ending episode DLC, it wraps everything up with no questions. Okay, some questions that I hope a sequel will kind of bring back. But overall, my final verdict for the DLC review of Spider-Man, The City That Never Sleeps, Episode 3, Silver Lining, is a pretty good 8 out of 10. It would have been a 9 if, I don't know, there was a little bit more extra meat. Like, maybe Tombstone comes back, because we don't see him again after the main game, and he could have been a cool side boss. And it was going to be a little bit lower, because when I first played it and looked it over, it had that epicness of the final boss fight. But at the same time, it kind of derailed by having us do some of the same missions for a third time. But because it kickstarted the next game, Miles Morales, and because it did so in such a seemingly connected way, like the length of a chain connecting to the next one, it did a great job of doing that and building up the Marvel Spider-Man video game universe. And I only hope that we don't have to wait a little bit longer for the next game, and hopefully my PS4 is still compatible to play. So, thank you ladies and gentlemen. Once again, happy belated St. Patrick's Day. Hope you all had a great time. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Comment on how you felt about this DLC. And it's time to end March. And I know I'm going to have an extra week, but I'm going to use that extra week to get things ready for April. Because coming next week to end the month of April, and the month of March, we're doing another villainous guide. Where, let's see, who am I reviewing again? We will be going through playing as a villain who is living proof that dinosaurs once roamed the earth. And make sure you don't have anything in your teeth when you join in. This is Gamer K, logging out.